Alright, next day, back down here. Right where I left off. Time to get some valve strings on, huh? I reckon.
When there's no more hope is left in me, I can see what comes my way, and I'm always lost. There's nowhere else to go. All I do is fall. Feels like I can make it more than I could bear. Giving up is all that I can surrender to you. Take me in your arms and hold me. With your love, find my rest, and I can see you lead me. You make me hope again.
Alright, they're all in there. Looking pretty, looking good. I guess the next step is to toss it back on there. Get her bolted down, huh? I got that head gasket back on. Gotta put to top dead center. Let me get the head back on. Yeah, I got that head on pretty good. No problems whatsoever. So just threw this guy on. Just put a couple bolts on here real quick just to hold it up and get it in place. Next up is the camshaft. I have it all timed out at the bottom, so hopefully I can keep it in time. We'll see. Alright, I got everything all nice and lined up, timed out, ready to tension this belt. But before I do that, I want to throw on the rocker arm so I'm not creating any kind of weird anti-pressure. So yeah, rocker arm next. Yeah, buddy. Alright, got everything torqued down. Got it timed. Got a little oil in there so I don't fuck everything up. Everything looks good. I went back and did the valve lashings. As you can see, there's like a hell of a lot more of appropriate height. That's nice to be able to bring those back down and not have to worry about that anymore. But yeah, they're all about that. So now it's throw on the exhaust, button up the thing, start putting some shit together, see how far I can get it. Alright. Managed to get the exhaust back on the top part here. All buttoned up wire-wise here. So I can do some connections. Got the power steering pump back together without a problem. Didn't seem to give me any trouble. But yeah, I gotta tighten down the alternator. A couple of things still left here, but I'm rolling right along. Trucking. Okay, I got the exhaust back on. Fully, I got everything wired up. So wired up, fully put on. This guy's on there, tightened down. Timing belt is tightened, timed. Power steering, alternator are tightened. Yeah. I think it's time to valve cover. Finish this rebuild up. Alright, she's all buttoned up, ready to go. Got myself some coolant in here. Oil's good, coolant's good, belts are good. Should be good to go. Let's give this the old first start try, huh? If I can get my camera to... Yeah, you know what? Boom. Alright. Well, it sounds better as far as exhaust wise goes. Suction out of there. Maybe a little bit of valve noise. A little bit of residual smoke out. Get my fan going here. Alright, so that seemed to be pretty successful. No major leaks or anything down there. It's a little residual, but yeah, I think I'm ready to put this guy on the ground. I do need to finish waxing the inside of the wheels, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now and get this sucker on the ground.
When there's no more hope is left in me, I can see what comes my way, and I'm always lost. to go. All I do is fall. Feels like I can make it more than I could bear. Giving up is all that I can surrender to you. Take me in your arms and hold me.
All right. Yeah, buddy. Ooh. Look at their Mustang. I got them cleaned inside, and then flipped them over and made sure there wasn't just a bunch of extra green shit on there. Got them all nice and cleaned up. I believe they are ready to go on the car now. Alright, got them tires back on. That looks pretty damn flat, huh? Looks pretty damn flat to me. Oh yeah, the guy's like, oh, I can't adjust it. I don't know how to adjust it. Well, that's how you adjust it, man. Sweet. Alright, let's get this guy backed out of the garage on the ground. Alright. Gonna throw a little more coolant in there. Sounds good. Looks good. Sounds good. It's a little smoky from residual oil. Aside from that, just need this sucker to heat up so I can time it. Get those bubbles out. Hear a strange noise from this pulley. Aha! Yeah. Yeah, I think I gotta tighten that down a little bit more, huh? I mean, it's charging. Technically, it's working. Technically. Seems to have hopped onto that belt as well. Some bitch. Well, it's not that hard of a fix. So the only thing I seem to be hearing, other than the alternator belt, just needs to be reset. It's a little tiny bit of valve lashing. Can you hear it? It's very faint. You almost can't hear it over the injectors. Just a slight tick. But I had a feeling I was going to have to. I mean, I went up and down on those things so much that I know I'm going to have to do it. Another one. It's not that big of a deal. I knew I was probably going to have to do it. It's not even that bad. It doesn't even really need it. You can barely even tell that it's making any noise. If you didn't know what that was, you'd just think it was something else. I didn't get any bubbles out of this yet, but oh, there we go. Fan's kicked on twice, so alright, continues. Hey, so I was just doing this. I was about to set the idle, and I went in here and I don't remember what I was doing, but oh yeah, I hit the trunk. I saw the trunk light came on for the first time ever, and I remembered that the tail lights were on that trunk light, and since I counted out the ground, went to take a quick peek. Sure as shit. Sure as shit, they're on. So I did fix them. How do you like that? I guess there's a lot of ground that gets tied into the one trunk thing. Fuck. Alright, gonna set the idle on this. Alright, so just drove around the block a couple times. It was funny, I wasn't getting a tachometer. And then I got a bunch of coolant down there. Yeah, just leftover shit. Anyways, just making sure it isn't new stuff. So I'm sitting there, I knew that my alternator was, the belt was a little iffy. I didn't go drive it around or anything like that, and I went to set the idle and I noticed that the tachometer wasn't working. Looked it up, a bunch of people said it was the wires. Messed around with them. Did notice a slight, I'm not gonna mess with it really, but there's a slight crack in this guy. The wire's still intact, not a big deal. So I knew it wasn't that, so I kept looking, and then somebody said, oh, it was my alternator belt was fucked up once. So instantly I was like, oh, that's it. Shut off the car, went under there to try and fix it, get back on there. Go to turn on the car's dead. It hadn't been charging. I thought for sure it was charging because it was spinning, but apparently it wasn't. So I pulled the car in, jacked it up, got under there, tightened it all back down. Perfectly fine. I do still have that hesitation. I thought it was the TPS sensor, but since I've changed it, not changed it, but I've adjusted it twice, and it's tight in there. I'm beginning to think it's really not that. I'm beginning to think it was my initial impression, which was the gas pump slash tank, because I don't know what the hell these people. This car came from a very interesting part of the state, let's put it that way, and when I got it, it was in a very interesting state of its own. So yeah, that being said, alternator's back in, it's all tightened down, charged, everything is running perfect. I am getting a bit of a blah, 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 blah from the exhaust somewhere. Not sure where. Oh, I forgot to see if my JB weld held. Well, definitely turned a different color, but it doesn't look like it crumbled or anything like that. Keep my eye on it. I don't want to touch it. Oh, I do want to touch it. Yeah, it seems to be working. I was hearing like a, but that could just be because I have my. I was driving around, the windows down, and I rolled up and I realized that it's still, all this insulation still pulled back off things, so it's super loud. It's just a thin piece of metal blocking the noise. But that leads me to believe that it is, you know, I wanted to make sure everything was running good and all that before I mess with the gas, just because I like to fix one thing before I start another, or else the variables become way too many. So yeah, car's up and running, good to go. I think the next thing here is going to be the new gas tank, but gas tank, gas pump. I've already started putting some PB Blaster on the bolts down there to try and help myself out. But yeah, so right now it seems to be running good. Fluids are good. Yeah, got my twins brake fluid warmer thing. Alright, so I just ran to the store, put about 42 miles on it, kind of drove all over the place, hit up a lot of hills, hit up a lot of, got my RPMs up over 7,000 a couple times. I'm seeing a little bit of oil right here. Trying to get the light on it too much, a little bit right in there, you can see. Nothing crazy, it looks like it's coming out of here. I did strip this guy. I've got it in there to the point where it's, you know, it gets tight and it spins. I got to the point where it's tight and it's sitting there. So I need to pull this guy off and replace that. Luckily, I've got a bunch of these suckers up here. I got a whole drawer of that crap. But other than that, not smelling anything crazy. It doesn't look like there's any, I can't tell. I forgot to dry it off, so I can't tell if that little wet spot down there is from the coolant, because I know this stuff is from the coolant kind of exploding yesterday. A little bit of wetness down there. But all in all, I mean, I just shut it off, I don't know. Yeah. Got great amount of oil in there, like perfect amount of oil. Yeah, I pumped it. I ran this sucker. Gave it its best. It doesn't appear to have any kind of goodness in it yet. I'm gonna keep my eye on that. It's kind of a fun thing. I'm kind of excited to see where that goes. As far as the hesitation goes, last night I was remembering that it kind of hesitated, or was doing the same thing after the first rebuild. And then when I drove it to get aligned and everything, by the time I got it back, it was actually being all right. That's what I was thinking last night. And it occurred to me that it's doing the same thing as it was doing before. So I remembered back to reading an article about relearning the ECU. So last night before I packed it all up, I relearned the ECU as opposed to trying to figure out the idle. I just unplugged it and let it sit for a thing, and then I held it at 3,000, yada yada yada. But yeah, that seemed to help. Like I said, I put 40 miles on it. Seems to be the exact same car it was before, engine wise. Definitely feel a difference with the things in the brake, the Wilwood brakes and Innovation mount, track mountain bar. But yeah, aside from that, I think it's running real pretty. The check engine light went away, the code 41. I figured it would, because it was just unplugged. I just had to reset the ECU. So yeah, gonna go ahead and say that this sucker is doing great. I'm gonna let it cool down. Probably tomorrow morning I'm gonna readjust the valves again. I definitely wanted to get about 50 miles on it before I did that. So that'll be tomorrow's thing. When I pull that off, I'll be sure to pull the strip bolt and replace it. Aside from that, I'm thinking that hesitation that's in there is solely due to the gas pump and whatnot. So I'm excited to get this guy going underway. The pump and the hanging unit and the filter. Really thinking that filter. As I was going, the muffler sounded awesome. The only problem I was having was the rattling with the heat shield on the bottom. So I've got all these nice foam pads. I tried putting, what was it that I put under there before? It was a muffler hanging, that rubber hanging, muffler hanger, rubber piece, whatever it is. I shoved that up under there, drove about 100 miles and it was gone. Don't know how long it lasted, but after 100 miles I looked and it was gone. So the rattling on top of the muffler, the heat shield, I'm going to put that on there and that should quiet up the car. That was the only noise that it made exhaust wise. So I'm really happy and really excited that this has come so far and so well. And gotta stay humble in the process too, you know. Alright, until next time.
When there's no more hope